everyone, welcome to episode 3, Aquascaping and Rock Curing. We had 3 decisions to make in this video. 1, what was our rock structure going to look like? 2, what stabilizing method would we use for our structure? And 3, how are we going to cure the rocks? For the first decision, we wanted to figure out how to best use the rocks we purchased to build a structure for our tank that worked for our inhabitants, as well as our own visual appeal. We wanted to use a more minimalist look for the tank and avoid the pile of rocks look at all costs. We knew we wanted the rock to be interesting and kind of artistic in and of itself, not just the typical coral reef look of Fiji or Pukani, although we did add a little of that. Most of the rock we purchased is called Texas Holy Rock, I believe. It was very heavy and dense, so we knew we would need extra media or rocks in the sump to help create more surface area for bacteria in order to allow this different look for the display. In order for this hole to be useful, we're going to have to really think that through. If they're going to be able to use that, this would have to be really high.
I would prop it up with just a pile of sand or whatever your base is.
Like that? Or they could go down under here.
See on the side, you can see where the small rock lines up with the big rock, and you could fit it like a puzzle piece. You'd almost have to, yeah.
That works.
It's not stable, but it fits. That's what the drilling is for. It's not like you have a fully grown tang now.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, a nice little cave underneath there. Come down under here, Caitlin, check that out. Yeah, a little cave.
That's really cool. That's a bridge in itself, Mom.
Yeah.
And I love this one that you're talking about because it's got this, 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 this. So I think this one needs to stand up against the back wall.
I don't know, that bridge almost seems unrealistic.
What is this?
Or, let's check this out.
Oh gosh.
That's a hell of a lot of holes and stuff. I mean, they swim down through.
You're smiling, so you like it.
I do like it, but it's kind of big. I like it. I think it looks pretty badass. The second decision we had to make was whether or not to drill holes in the rocks and epoxy them together with fiberglass rods for sturdiness, or to use friction and gravity to our advantage with the possibility of a little bit of epoxy between the rocks. We had purchased a drill bit to fit our orange rods, but in the end we decided not to use the rods and rely on friction and gravity. The rods and drill bit were returned to the store.
And here's the other thing, like I was looking at this junction here where this rock kind of goes into it. There's a cavity right there where it kind of goes in.
Oh yeah, not much to anchor to. What about this section here?
Yeah, I don't know how to. I'll try and figure out something.
Instead, we used a hammer to break away some of the high points where the rocks connected, so there was more friction between them. Apparently our camera person thought we should be using goggles, and she's right. Use goggles, kids. Safety first. I'll update you later on how this works out over time. If any of our structure falls to the bottom of the tank and breaks the glass, we'll heavily regret this decision. We chose this primarily so that the rock structure can be moved later on if we decide to make changes, or if we need to get to a fish or something else in those tight places. The third decision we had to make was whether or not to cure the rock in RODI salt water or tap water with salt added. We did not have the RODI unit yet that was in the previous video when this was filmed, so using option 1 would mean we had to spend money at the store to buy the water. It seemed wasteful to do since we had a unit on the way, but we knew that it was also not a great idea to soak the rocks in water that we don't even like to drink from, and then put them in the tank. I mean, who knows what the rocks would have absorbed and later leached back into the tank. Before we thawed it through, we did spray off the rocks with the hose to remove some organic dirt and plant debris that was in the holes and on the rock. Hopefully this was quick and it wouldn't have any permanent effect on the rocks since it won't have much time to absorb anything problematic. The curing process should remove anything that would leach back out into the water. We purchased a food-safe Brute trash can to place the rocks and water in, as well as a little heater and a power head to keep the water moving. A thermometer was added just for good measure so we could monitor the temperature. The rocks cured in the trash can for about 3 weeks. During that time we never did a water change. Curing dry rock is apparently a lot less gross than curing actual live rock because there isn't much left on the rocks that needs to decay. Most of the 3 weeks the bin just smelled like dirt and earth. When our test kits arrived, we tested for ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate and saw a small cycle, quote-unquote, take place. Both the ammonia and the nitrite disappeared without any water changes. And to give you a little sneak peek at what's coming, the rocks were ultimately moved into the tank when we got it set up, and the structure looks amazing in the display. In an upcoming video, we'll walk through the fun of trying to get the tank into the house without breaking it, and all the little things we did to prep the area for its arrival.
Good spots to put this hole so that
We could just use these as swords.
I was having fun with them against the box.
Misty.
You gotta try. It's not.
Give me one.
It's not too hard to do. You take it and just take a point tube.
Oh, missed.
This is we are violent. Oh, we should do some archery.
You gotta get him doing that at the wide angle.
We're going to do another one.
Spear fishing.
Nice. Oh
I
no.
really haven't.
We haven't
decided.
planned out the fish approach quite yet. We know
We just got our rocks. It's
We
okay.
just got rocks.
I'm excited for the cleaning part.
Yeah, cool.
Really?
Right.
We're recording. Thank you.